Welcome to another episode of Love Living Local 315. We are your hosts, Scott and Kelly Greats, and today we welcome Adrienne Smith from Nascentia Health. Adrienne started her career in traditional media and has recently transitioned to Nascentia Health. She is a high-energy, passionate person who brings 100% focus and attention to her job. Her local roots are deep, and her family ties and her faith are strong. I know you're going to enjoy this conversation with Adrienne Smith. All right, so we originally scheduled this for yesterday, and I got yelled at by my wife because she had plans, and some of them, she's like, yeah, just do it without me. This one, she's like, I want to be there.
I'm like, we need to reschedule.
She's
I'm honored that you're here and that you wanted to be here.
About this conversation. So let's talk about the transition. You started in journalism, media relations, and you moved to Nascentia, and that word scared me all morning.
Yeah, it's a scary word.
Nascentia Health.
It's hard to pronounce, but once you get it, it just rolls off the tongue.
So let's talk about that transition and what you're doing now.
So I started my journalism career after graduating from Ithaca College back in 2019. I feel really old
Go
saying
Bombers.
that. Yes, go Bombers all the way. It's a great day always to be a Bomber. But I graduated in 2019 with a degree in television digital media with a concentration in broadcast performance. And my lifelong dream for the longest time was to make it big and hopefully make it to the Today Show in New York City. So I always tried my best to work hard at that goal. And throughout college, I was very involved in the television station there that's student run. I got internships. I was doing all of the things that I wanted to do for my career. And my last semester, I was finishing up my degree. I only had a few classes, and I graduated a semester early. I'm a part of the class of 2020, made it out just in time before COVID. But I knew that that was the track that I wanted to go on, the local news route, to try and work my way up that way. And I got an internship at WSYR News Channel 9 in Syracuse. I was finishing up my degree, and I was an intern, and then that internship then transpired into a, hey, let's try you out part-time on the weekends. Your last semester of college, you're going to be working. You're not going to be having fun. But that was my choice. That's what I wanted to do. I was so ready to get to work, and that then turned into a full-time opportunity once I graduated. And I was there for about 4 years. I was a multimedia journalist to begin with, so I was the one-woman show, as they like to call it. I would shoot my own interviews, shoot my own stories, write my own stories, go back and edit my own stories, voice them, and then present them on television.
Literally a one-woman show.
Literally a one-woman show.
Hopefully they paid you well to do that.
That's a story for
If you know anything about media, that's a no.
Unfortunately, that is a story for another day. And I'm very transparent about, the reasons why I left, and we can maybe get into that a little bit later on. But I think the big thing for me is that just my priorities changed as I was growing and evolving, and I loved what I did there, telling people stories. That ignites me. That is what fuels me. And I'm sure you both feel very similar as I do in that regard. But I was giving so much to the industry because that I eventually became a dayside reporter on top of then being a weekend morning anchor. So I was waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, Sunday for 4 years straight and going to work. Yeah. So the schedule wasn't really, aligning with my priorities. And then also I was pouring so much into my job because I'm just a very passionate person. Like once I'm in on something, I'm all in on it. And unfortunately, it just wasn't giving me what I needed in return.
Sure. You have the look, right? I mean, you look like you should be a TV anchor, and you're well-spoken and hardworking. So I don't know if that's ever something in the future. We'll see, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I never say never because, again, it was such a dream for me to make it big and work hard and, use what I believe are like my God-given talents and skills in a job that I'm extremely passionate about. But again, I think the industry in general is not in folks' favor. And that really changed, I think, when it was bad before. It was bad before, even when I was like interning and seeing, the reporters and the people who were working that I was shadowing. It was bad for them then. But then you had COVID and everyone's priorities changed. And the industry has just not caught up with the times of paying people what they need to be paid, of respecting work-life balance. And again, those are all factors on why I decided to step away and take the leap.
Fair enough.
Let's
talk about some happy stuff.
Yeah, I know, right? But I got one question.
Yeah.
Most memorable story you ever covered, and then we'll get off the journalism broadcasting.
Memorable. So I actually had the opportunity to start a series at News Channel 9. It was the station's first ever Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month series, and we, through the parent company Nexstar owns News Channel 9 in Syracuse. They do Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month, and then as someone who was the only person in that market of Asian American descent, I felt an obligation to look around and say, there are amazing Asian American Pacific Islanders who are working and contributing successfully to the Central New York community. So it's my obligation in the role that I'm in to highlight that. So that is definitely one of my proudest moments there. I did the series for 3 years, and I highlighted, let's say, a dozen business owners and entrepreneurs, and just really trying to shed a positive light on top of when the pandemic was happening and there was a lot of, Asian hate, Stop Asian Hate, that movement was going on. So again, it was like this internal wake up call where I needed to do something about it and be positive.
Good for you.
Thank you.
We said that would be the last media question, but now I'm going to ask you another one.
I love it.
I just, this day and age, and we tell our kids all the time, how amazing it is. The opportunities are endless, and we have the ability to be the media, right, wrong, or indifferent, right?
Yes.
So now with podcasting, with social media, you can create your own platform and have just as many, if not more, viewers than traditional news. So is that something you're doing on your own?
I do it, I think, for fun.
Yeah.
Not so much an obligation anymore. When I was at News Channel 9 and in the local news business, on top of my day-to-day responsibilities of getting something on television, I also, with digital media evolving, I had the responsibility of updating people in real time on my social media accounts. So I had, a decent following on my professional pages, and just personally, I grew up with social media. Yeah. So I've always enjoyed it. So now, being out of that business, I am transitioning more to, I want to share my life, and that's pretty much that. It's not so much I have to, it's I want to, because I just want to share with everyone kind of what's going on, because a lot of the viewers, shout out to the viewers in Central New York, they are very loyal people, and they ask. They're like, what are you up to now? What are you doing? So there's partial obligation where I want to keep them updated because they were so kind to me to welcome me into their homes, to trust me to tell their stories. So I want to keep them and connect with them as well.
That's the relationship. It's this weird dynamic, right?
Totally.
Where we think we know people
through the television, for sure.
Airwaves, right? I mean, we people get mad when their anchor or favorite person isn't there or
out
leaves
or
out
the show
sick.
Or on vacation. Oh, right. And there's a healthy balance, guys. Anyone who's listening out there who might be, a little obsessed with your local news anchors or reporters or on-air talent, it's great, and we love the passion. But to some degree, there have been circumstances that have been a little off-putting and creepy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If we're being totally transparent, there are some creepy folks out there.
There's a lot of them.
Had to be careful with all of that as well.
All right, so let's shift to Nascentia Health now. And what is your role there?
So I am the Director of Media Relations. I actually started at Nascentia Health not even a month ago.
Oh, okay.
So I've really been trying to hit the ground running, get out there, and My role specifically, I am working in the marketing department, so I'm helping with a lot of their media outreach and taking my experience from working in the local news industry to then helping Nascentia spread the word about everything that they have going on. And for those who don't know what Nascentia is, we are a home healthcare company formerly known as the VNA of Central New York, have been around for over 135 years, made that transition to Nascentia Health in the early 2010-12 area. But our mission is to provide the best quality care to folks who want to be at home. And that's a lot of people who want to be taken care of in their home, in the comfort of their home. We serve 48 counties throughout New York State. As far as, Albany, we stretch out to Western New York, Syracuse, that's where our headquarters is. And then recently we purchased the Beeches Manor in Rome. So we have a whole line of projects, specifically a capital campaign coming underway very shortly to transform the 72-acre property at Beeches Manor into an aging in place community for Central New Yorkers, and that will be called Nascentia Neighborhood. So I'm going to be very involved in that project as well.
And this was one of the reasons that I wanted to be here for this interview, because Scott and I have a lot of experience.
We lived it. Yeah.
We lived it with his father. His father did not want to be in an assisted living community.
Right.
He didn't need to be.
No, he didn't.
He needed help, but he didn't need to be in assisted living.
Yes.
So it was this weird, and we're not nurses.
And he would feel uncomfortable with me trying to be his nurse because I'm his daughter-in-law.
Exactly.
So what Nascentia Health does is so very important.
It is.
In those crucial years that are normally, obviously, the last years of their life, and making them happy.
Yeah.
Truly happy.
Definitely.
So
and that's so important.
It is so important.
We do everything from pediatric care. We have PTs, OTs, nurses, obviously,
awesome.
home care aides. So we, run the gamut across home health care. And what makes Nascentia, I think, very different is that we do have that pediatric home care program. Because you think of home care and you do think of our senior citizens and our elderly community, which that was the first thing that came to my mind before I started working there. But we have a charitable foundation that supports pediatric home care, and it's sad, the conditions that some of these families are living in, the disadvantage that they have with getting quality health care. So we're just really proud to be able to make a positive impact in people's lives.
So it's evident you're a passionate person. We can tell you're heart driven.
Yes.
So what led you to this? Because this is a big change. I mean, I know you're doing the media relations, so it's parallel, but
I think it's just, I've always been this way. My parents will say it time and time again that I've just always been a driven person. And I said it before, but I go all in on something when I'm focused on it. And when this job presented itself to me, I was all in. And even though I've only been there a few weeks, already I've just grown to become so passionate about the company and what we do because it's so important. And
and the fulfillment that you are going to get from this position, just knowing that you're helping families in need at a crucial time is huge.
That's why I was so excited about this opportunity coming on the podcast, because it was a way for me to share what we do. Because a lot of people see the Nissan Rogues that say Nascentia Health driving all around Central New York, but they don't know what we do. And I think more and more people need to know because it's important.
Because this was our first experience. Luckily, we had at the time all 4 parents.
Yes.
And we had never even thought about what would happen if one of our parents needed.
And it happens fast.
It happened rapidly.
It
does.
And,
Yeah,
some people see it coming and they have that time to plan, but other people don't.
Oh, no.
And I did not know who to call, where to go. So that's why I was so excited, to have you on the show, because there are a ton of people that, sadly, you kind of need to prepare for it, even if you don't see it coming.
Oh, you do. And
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to grow up with all 4 grandparents. So both of my mom and my dad, their parents were very involved in my life. And unfortunately, 3 out of my 4 grandparents I needed to see suffer and pass away. And currently my grandma Vicky, she just turned 99 on Sunday.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
She is in assisted skilled nursing. Unfortunately, she has dementia, and now the physical part of her body that's kind of not in a decline right now. But I look at her and I see who she was before the dementia, and knowing that she wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah.
She wouldn't want to be in this position that she's in right now. So that's another reason why I'm so passionate about it, is because I did have my grandparents, and now, with me being the age that I'm at, 26, turning 27 this year, seeing my parents age, it's just important to me.
This is dark but real, and something that doesn't get talked about enough. We immediately think of the physical health, but one of the highest rates of suicide in our country is the elderly. And a big part of that is, as humans, we need love and attention and to be seen and heard. And when you don't have companions at any level, the loneliness, the darkness, and so just that piece of it, having someone push into the house.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
become like best friends.
When even in my old job, I'm thinking of multiple circumstances right now, but even in my old job, when I would see elderly folks or have to interview them, and they'd say, like, you're my entertainment for the day, I'm like, that's really sad. And then when I go and see my grandmother in her assisted skilled nursing facility, I look around at some of the folks who are on her floor who have nobody, and it's just really, really sad. It's sad when you have a community and a family that cares and visits you and makes the time for you. I can't imagine the folks who don't have that. It's really sad.
And the other huge thing is they don't want to be a burden to their children or their loved ones.
Sure.
So that's where your company is huge, because they don't want that burden.
You've got a million things that you offer. Give us some highlights. So who should be looking at Nascentia? What do you offer? What do people need to know about?
Well, the company, we're 1,000 employees across the state.
Yeah, I mean, you said 48 counties.
Yeah,
so it takes a lot of people.
I mean, healthcare workers, if you're interested in working for a company that cares for you, come to Nascentia. If you're looking for a company that knows your worth and pays you and compensates you for that, come work at Nascentia. Even if you're not in that healthcare realm, like me, coming from a media relations background, news background, the company, it's a nonprofit, but we operate like a corporate company. So there are just many opportunities for anyone out there: PTs, OTs, home healthcare aides, nurses. We want to have you join our team.
Awesome. And I'm guessing, I shouldn't guess, but probably somewhat flexible, right?
Pretty flexible. I think with like any healthcare job, you got to work your way up the ranks.
Sure.
We operate 7 days a week. We don't stop when the clock hits 5 on Friday. So there's that component. But again, from everything that I've seen and witnessed so far, we're one of the best healthcare companies. And I've talked to people throughout my career at News Channel 9, people who do work at the bigger hospitals and who do work for, those larger healthcare corporations that have their concerns and aren't being compensated fairly. And that's just from my own conversations with folks. I'm not saying every place is like that, but it's nice because we are a smaller-ish company for healthcare, and everything that I've seen, we value our employees, which is great.
So you've grown up in Central New York your whole life. You said Italian-American family.
Oh, yeah.
So and we can relate because we grew up the same way.
Yes.
Do you feel like that has had a lot to do?
I do.
With your passion.
I give so much credit to my parents, Judy and Richard. Shout out to you. And my brothers. I have 2 older brothers as well, Justin and Matt. And I just grew up. I've been so blessed. I truly have. I say it every day when I wake up, that I really am so grateful for the life that, in my case, God has given me, the universe, whoever you want to, whoever you believe in. But in my case, it's God. And I was adopted from Seoul, Korea when I was 7 months old. And I always remind myself when I'm going through a hard time or struggling, what my life could have been like there. And clearly my birth parents, they had a sacrifice. They gave me up in hopes of giving me a better life. And when I look at my life and, you know, where it's going, where I'm heading, what it's been, I couldn't thank them enough for that, truly. And again, my family here, they are my family. My mom is my mom here. My dad is my dad here. My brothers are my brothers, and my extended family as well. I truly couldn't have asked for a better family. And everyone has like their family dynamics, right? Quirks, whatever. And I'm no exception to that, but I really would not change my upbringing for the world.
Oh, that's awesome. Weird shift back to the work.
Yeah.
Terrible transition here.
No, that's fine.
But
I'm all about the
tell
pivots.
this beautiful story about your family. I'm like, all right, let's talk about the money.
Let's do it.
You said nonprofit. So share with us, like, what does that mean? Like, this is obviously a huge operation, 1,000 employees. Like, where does the money come from?
Yeah, it's a huge operation. Our patients are through Medicaid and Medicare insurance policies as well. So that's really where the money is coming from, operating as a nonprofit. And like I mentioned before, we do so much. So Nascentia Health is like, yes, that's the parent company, but there's so much under that where we have specific programs and streams of revenue. One of those being the Beeches Manor in Rome, as I talked about before. So Beeches Manor, under Nascentia Health, we operate as a full-service restaurant and bar event center. That's a for-profit company, I guess, or sector, if you want to call it, under Nascentia Health. And the company is very profitable.
So you're running the Beeches, but taking over the land to build?
Correct.
Okay.
So we bought the entire 72-acre property.
I didn't realize there were two separate things.
Right. And Beeches still operates.
Yes, under Nascentia Health. So Nascentia Health, you'll see if you want to browse open positions, we hire bartenders and restaurants and restaurant staff. So yeah,
we
great.
should hire bartenders.
You should.
For our organization.
Oh, these interviews would be a lot more entertaining if we had bartenders.
We're recording this one in the morning. Oh, no, it's afternoon. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And it's Friday every time we're recording.
Yes.
So my one question is, it became a full-time job for me to get Paul qualified for Medicaid.
Yes.
Do you have people that help with that?
Yes.
Because it's time consuming. Yep. You have no idea what you need to do. We had to set up what was it called? A trust. A trust. You know, where we could prove that he was spending all of his money on rent, cable, things that he needed.
Oh, yeah.
And once we went through that process, he was then qualified. So I'm just wondering if you have people on your staff that help people.
We do.
Good.
And I'm so happy you brought this up because we have care coordinators. I work right above them.
That's
They're on the
awesome.
first floor. We have entitlement specialists. We have the staff to make the patient and their family's life easier.
For sure.
Because I just saw my mom go through the whole process with her mom, my grandmother, who's still alive, with Medicaid and Medicare. And it's just a whole process. And my mom is an only child. So she was dealing with that all on her own. And there's no instruction or playbook on, ooh, how do you do this for your parents?
Right.
Your aging parent. When do you do it? How do you do it? So Nascentia Health, if you do qualify for our programs, we have the team to be able to provide you support.
This might not be something you guys do, but what about planning for this? You know, what if your parents are healthy now, but you're like, hey, you know, at some point, you know, and so how do we prepare for this?
I'm not entirely sure if we offer the whole planning ahead of time. And I don't know if that's something that we will offer in the future or currently offer right now. But I will say we have our clientele, our patients, again, they're from pediatrics all the way up to senior citizens. So even if you want to just give us a call, visit our website, nascentiahealth.org, you'll be able to see if what you need is something that we provide. And we talked about it, but we do provide quite a lot.
Yeah, that pediatric program is huge because when I was teaching, we had a student who, up until third grade, was able to attend school, but then after third grade, it wasn't safe for him, you know? And so it is so important that we keep in mind the younger population as well.
Definitely.
In theory, your job is fun.
It is.
I don't want to say it is because I'm sure there's plenty of not fun stuff, but branding, marketing, public relations, really just telling Nascentia's story. So you being new on the job, what's your angle? Like what do you want to, what do you want to highlight and let everyone know? And you know, because we build this avatar, right? In your world, and you're like, hey, I need to let these people know how awesome Nascentia is in this way. So what style are you taking?
I think my approach is just being relatable, and that has been my approach ever since I was on television at News Channel 9. Like, I want to be my most authentic self because that is what people want out of folks that you're connecting with, and that's how the message is going to be delivered, in my opinion, the most efficient way. So in terms of my responsibilities at work, I am doing media outreach. They have given me the blessing to be a part of, you know, interviews and being the face, I guess you could say, one of the faces of the company. So that's just kind of my goal, to continue doing that.
Be real.
Yeah, be real.
Let's talk a little bit more about your personal life. You're getting married this August.
I am getting married.
Congratulations.
To my fiancé, Kyle.
And so this has got to be...
It's really funny that you say that, because I took the job in... What is it? It's March now. I took it in like February, end of January, and then I left my previous role at Utica University. And it's funny because now my coworkers at Nascentia, they're asking like, oh, when are you getting married? Where? And they're like, man, I wish we hired you earlier because you could have had your wedding here. But my plans, the wedding plans are already in full swing. So we're getting married at the Onondagas.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So hopefully your work-life balance...
It's great.
Good.
Yeah.
It's great. And I, again, am coming from such a world where I was on 24/7. Like, I was monitoring, you know, hundreds of emails that were coming in by the hour when I was working at News Channel 9. So my brain never stopped. So even checking in periodically on Saturday and Sunday, checking my email, looking at the Nascentia Health social media pages, that doesn't bother me because that's my job and that's what I want to do.
Yeah. It is so sad that so many of our professions have lost sight of that. That's one of the reasons that I left teaching early, was because it just became too much.
There was no balance.
There was no balance. I was answering emails and like class dojo messages at like 8 o'clock at night. And I'm like, this is not...
The parent expectations.
Yeah. It is a huge
one. It's a huge one. My fiance, Kyle, he is a special education teacher.
Okay.
So, and he grew up in a family of educators as well. So I'm surrounded by that, thankfully, and I get to see some of the unfortunate circumstances with working in the education system nowadays. It's tough. It's really tough. So I give credit to you and everyone else who's doing it right now.
It's a long shot, but August what?
2nd. Why?
We're
Our
August
anniversary is in
17th.
August.
Oh, really?
Thought maybe we could share a day.
What's your anniversary date? Maybe
17th.
we'll change.
17th, yeah. If you want to push it back 15 days, it's probably like a Wednesday or something this year.
I would change it, but August 2nd is actually my grandparents' wedding anniversary date. So that's why another reason why we chose it.
That's great.
The grandmother's still alive?
Yes, it
awesome.
is. Yeah, so praying and hoping that she'll be able to attend.
That's amazing. All right, we talked about a lot, but what's one key message that you would like to share, something you've learned through your journey that it can help others?
I think the biggest thing that I would like to share with your listeners is trusting in the plan, and it's okay if that plan changes along the way. There's a verse that comes to mind for me. It's from Proverbs, and it's trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways he will make your paths straight. And that's ad-libbing right there. I'm not sure if I got the verse 100% correct, but that was something that was very challenging for me when I had to step away from the news industry, is letting go of that plan that I had and dream. But I couldn't tell you how much better off I am and how much I've grown and evolved because of it. And just, again, trusting that everything's going to be okay and everything's going to work out.
This is one of the messages that Scott shares when he does the speaking at the high school.
Kids a lot. Yeah.
Like, so what?
Awesome.
Now what? Like, you so many kids and youth have this idea or expectation of what they want their life to look like.
Yes.
And as soon as they have a detour or a fork in the road and they go one way, they are so ready to give up.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was there. I'm not going to lie. To be completely vulnerable with you both, I was at that point. I really, really struggled. It was like a mid-20s identity crisis, I guess you could call it, where I just felt so lost. And on the outside, it looked like I had everything all together, especially with being a public figure.
Yeah. Right.
Well, if you're on TV, you must be doing well.
Well, no, I say that in air quotes, or like, yeah, your life's perfect. Yeah, no, it's not. I was definitely silently struggling with my mental health. But I just want to encourage the younger listeners, even the older listeners, if they can take some wisdom from me, I guess, is that it is going to work out and it is going to be okay. And even if you're struggling now, like things will definitely get better.
Yeah, it's always one of my key messages is that life isn't linear, right?
It's
We
not.
think that you do this and then you get that, and then you do that and you get this, and it's one beautiful straight line. And then you flip the paper and just scribble all over it. And like, no, this is what life looks like, you know. And you have to.
And are you going to make it through this?
Yeah,
Totally.
You got to embrace
person.
the whirlwind, and this concept that life happens for you and not to you certainly helps those of faith, right?
Definitely.
That you know there is a plan, and you don't know what it is right now, and that's hard for us mentally.
Oh, it's so hard, especially when you're a planner.
Yeah.
And when you have goals, aspiration, dreams, and you want your life to look a certain way and be a certain way. Again, I struggled with it. I will probably continue to struggle with it. I'm in a good place right now, but it's not to say that I'm not going to experience challenges down the road, because I certainly
Life
am.
is seasons. And
Yes.
when you are a type A, which I am, and I
think
plan
everyone at the table is.
Yes.
everything
The
out,
three of us.
sometimes you're just like, how am I going to do this? This is not how the way it's supposed to be. And it's just, it
and
can
then
be overwhelming
Sometimes
at
you
times.
get angry.
Yeah.
You get angry at like, why is it this way?
Yeah.
I would always ask, I'm like, why, God, are you
Why
doing
is this
to
happening
me?
to me?
Why are you like
Yeah.
taking this from me? No, like he's giving me something in return.
We're gonna make the second most awkward pivot of this conversation.
love it. Awkward
Let's go
pivots.
into disco.
Oh yeah.
Yes, let's talk about it.
So next
From
week,
God to disco.
yeah,
Let's boogie.
right. JC went to a few disco infernos,
Fun.
allegedly back in Jerusalem or Bethlehem or where.
Oh my God.
I messed that
Scott.
one up, Jay.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
Wait,
please
fact check me on
forgive
that
my
one.
husband.
No, I love the humor. I absolutely do. So yes, Nascentia Health, our charitable foundation, we are hosting a Disco Inferno party. So it's all to benefit the Nascentia Health Charitable Foundation. The Nascentia Health Charitable Foundation, that is what fuels our pediatric home care program. And we are doing this fundraiser. It is the inaugural. It's the first. We're doing it at Beeches Manor on I'm thinking of my wedding. I'm thinking of my
August
wedding month.
2nd at Yanadassis. We'll be there. Thank you for the invite.
Everyone will be wearing 70s clothes at my wedding now.
Who are all these people?
Let me back up. It will be on April 5th. You can buy tickets at nascentiahealth.org. And again, we want everyone to come out, experience the silent disco, live DJ, just go back to the 70s and dance and boogie for a great cause. And that is our pediatric home care program.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yes, we're excited.
All right, we end all these with some rapid fire,
Ooh, I'm
fun,
ready.
local focused questions.
Fun.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kel.
Best place to grab coffee.
Ooh, I'm going to say Utica Coffee, being from Utica, obviously. I love them.
Favorite local festival or event that you try to never miss?
I went to Notre Dame Elementary for 1 year, what used to be Our Lady of Lourdes. My parish was Our Lady of Lourdes, now Mary Mother of Our Savior, I believe, on Genesee Street in Utica.
I've been there many times. We
Lourdes
played basketball
Bazaar.
there.
Yes.
My kids played basketball there. It's the dungeon.
It's the dungeon.
Yeah.
It
you
is the
sit up
dungeon.
top.
Correct.
Yeah,
it
for
looks
sure.
like it looks like a dungeon on the outside, and then when you're on the inside, you're like,
Funny.
looks the same on the inside too.
But go ahead.
But the Lourdes Bazaar, I love it. I grew up going to it, and then probably following that would be the State Fair. Love the State Fair too.
You're a state fair person. Okay.
Surprisingly, I just go for the food.
That's
honestly,
Person, you just labeled her as a fair person.
a fair
I
goer.
didn't label her. I'm just there are
you're
people,
one of those.
There
Cool.
are people that are very passionate that never miss the state fair every year.
Very passionate
I didn't
about their
mean-
milk, their burned dairy milk, the food.
The food is huge.
Yeah, the food.
Yeah.
Like I need
I
cheese
know.
fries anytime I go.
Gosh, why did you do that to me? Okay.
Oh no.
I'll proudly be a fair frequenter.
We didn't say those good.
All right, go to comfort food spot in Utica. It doesn't have to be your favorite comfort food.
I love Ancora, and I know it's more of like a fun, hip place to go, but their food, very comforting.
Their paella is fantastic.
Their Riggies, outstanding.
Yep.
Their greens,
Yep.
outstanding. And they send me into a food coma every time.
Well, there you
So
go.
that's my comfort
Good
food.
answer.
It's a spot that we don't go to enough.
Well, I know. And then when we go there, we love it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
We
the three
just-
of us
there's-
can go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds good.
If you had to describe Central New York in 3 words, what 3 words would you use?
Beautiful, opportunity, and community.
Nice.
I like it.
Favorite thing to do on a day off?
Ooh, a day off. Really just spend time with my fiance, my family. Nothing too crazy. Just quality time.
What's something in Central New York that you think everyone should experience at least once?
That's a good one. I have to think about that. I don't know if there's anything in particular that is coming to mind, but just getting out there and experiencing local and supporting local. The best gems are those that are owned and operated by local Central New Yorkers. So I say, instead of going to Dunkin', go to Utica Coffee. Or instead of, going to
Olive Garden.
Olive Garden.
Oh.
Hello. Our Italian American
I know.
community is huge and outstanding. So that would be my encouragement for
I said
folks.
for years growing up here, we moved away, we came back, and I'm like, one business that would never, ever, ever make it here is Olive Garden. And then
Parking lot's packed every night of the week.
I don't get it.
Affordability,
I don't
maybe
get it either.
coupons.
I don't
we've
get it.
never gone, but I do want to.
yeah.
Before you finish up here, we did a corporate retreat this fall, and we brought in a bunch of different business owners from across the country, and we take it for granted, but we did it Columbus Day weekend,
Yeah.
peak fall foliage,
Oh,
and people from out of the
amazing.
area were like blown away that
Oh,
this place
totally.
existed and it looked that beautiful.
Yeah, that's why one of the words that I used to describe it was beautiful,
Yeah.
because so many people think outside of New York, when you say you're from Central New York, they're like, ooh.
They think the city.
They
Yeah,
think
for
the
sure.
city, or
Yeah.
they think like so rural where there's
Yeah.
nothing around,
Yeah.
where we're a flourishing community. So
And it's
happy
kind
to
of
be a part
nice
it.
to be able to
Yeah.
go to places where there is nothing around.
Oh, totally. I'm like, I like nothing going on. That sounds nice to me with the chaos of the world. Sure thing.
Last one.
Okay, what's one thing about Central New York you think that surprises people most? Like when they come here and they're just surprised by it.
I think following up on that, the beauty.
I do too.
And
I didn't read ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I kind of stole that.
You kind of
I
stole
just-
my
No,
question
no.
there. That's okay.
well,
I'm in a
it
really
was
good
just
place
a nice
with you right now.
segue. It wasn't an awkward transition this go around. It was a seamless transition. No, I would say the beauty of Central New York, and then also I think the people.
Yeah.
New Yorkers get a bad rap, but the people here are absolutely amazing. They're passionate, they're hardworking, they're kind, and maybe not on the surface at first, but once again you invest in your community and you get to know people and connect, that's where the beauty happens.
The other thing I will say about this community specifically is and we've lived in a couple cities, like if you're in any city or just bigger market and something bad happens to you or your family or it is what it is.
Yeah.
Around here, like it's a thing. The way people rally around those that need help is second to none.
It's crazy. And you think of when something tragic happens, it could happen all the way out in Syracuse. And people from Utica, Rome, wherever out this way, Ilion, they band together because that's just what we do.
How do people find you? How do they connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram, Adrienne __, 3 underscores, Smith. My Facebook page is Adrienne Smith, ADRIENNE. TikTok, if you want to follow my TikTok, it's kind of nonsense, but it's
they
Adrienne
all?
Smith.
That is my
03.
favorite kind of TikTok.
Yeah.
I enjoy it for leisure.
Yeah, I just post
Yeah.
what I want to post, and again, it's very, very casual. So if you're looking for more professional content, I guess head to my Facebook page. But yeah, I'm public on most platforms, so I'm just sharing my life and everything that comes along the way.
Well, Adrienne Smith, Nascentia Health,
Thank
we
you.
are so grateful that we connected and look forward to seeing you in the future.
Same
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Love Living Local. As you know, we do not run ads. Our only mission is to shine a spotlight on amazing people doing amazing things here in our local community. If you'd like to support us with this mission, we have 3 ways you can help. You can share our content on social, subscribe or follow the show on your favorite podcast platform, and you can visit our lovelivinglocals315.com website to stay up to date with everything happening in Central New York.